Hi, YouTube fans. This is Matt of Post April 6th YouTube channel. How are you today? I hope you're doing good. Well, one of the many things in my collection of video movies to see, whether it be on DVD or whether it be on VHS, because as I've confessed before or let people know before, or shall I say disclosed before, that I am a VCR junkie. Yeah. I like DVD qualities better, but something about VHS movies are in some ways better. Because sometimes the picture quality is good in Blu-ray DVDs or regular, not high def, but the standard DVD versions. The picture quality is better than VHS, but something about the sound, it sounds a little flat. It doesn't have enough. It doesn't have the nice balance and divided frequencies of bass and treble, and things that would be the right noise, the hiss noise suppression. But what I decided to do while I was watching Psycho, and it's the part of the movie where Norman Bates is cleaning up cabin 1 after the stabbing in the shower took place, that I remembered. It came back after I've forgotten about this for over 30 years. It was a cassette tape that I made of that I made back in the summer of 1984 of a used car dealership that was becoming more and more popular. And one of the key things that was in the audio content of the commercial was a 1957 Ford. It was the same type of 1957 Ford that Marion Crane bought from a car dealership, an OK used car dealership, where the manager and the head and the salesman was California Charlie. Yeah. And I kept thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking over and over and over again about what was in, what all the contents were, what I said, how I expressed myself in the way an actor would do or a good voice announcer would do. But I couldn't remember everything. So, after I really thought about it, and I would be, this would be in a 10-year-old, an 11-year-old kid's voice, not the voice I have now, of a grown-up adult that's over 50, that's 51 years old, that's my age. I thought to the best I could of what would be in the commercial. So, here is okay, I had to use my clapboard to do that, and I searched quite some time to find one piece of chalk, and finally I found it. Oh, brother. Okay. So here is my best memory of what the commercial sounded like. Hello there, everyone. This is Littleton Car Dealership. You're going to have a deal on an automobile. Today, and all this week, we have some new used cars coming in. A 1957 Ford that was exactly like the one that was in the movie Psycho. A 1976 V8 Ford Cougar. A 1968 two-door Mercedes Benz. And a 1967 GMC pickup truck with a 378 cubic inch V6 gas-powered engine. Come in this week, because these items are being viewed constantly by customers, and a lot of people are interested. You've got no time to wait. You've got a lot to lose if you don't come in soon. See ya. That would be one take. Okay, I shall do take two. Take two would be something like this. We have a dark blue 1937 Model A Ford that has been fully restored, that is selling for less than $8,000. Don't you hear the horn? Don't you hear it blaring away? And we have a 1962 red and white GMC pickup truck with a straight inline six V8, a straight inline six engine and a 3-speed on the column manual gear shift. And we have a Ferrari that is very similar to the one that was in Magnum PI. And we have a 911 Porsche that is going for, that is a 1972 model. It is going for less than $5,000. And we also have a 1968 Toyota that is in perfect running condition that will sell for less than $900. Please come to the Littleton Car Dealership that is on South Broadway, and come there as soon as you can, because this week has been one of the busiest weeks we've ever experienced in the last 20 years. Be there or be square. That's take two. That's the best memory that I would have of that. Okay, let me think about take three. Okay, for take three, I think what would be best is to do the one that would be used cars that would have been more modern back in 1983. Okay, the only cars that I would think of, this would be a commercial that would be aired in 1984. That would be more of the thing that would be appealing to the prospective buyer. Would be these used cars, and on all three of them are going to be Oldsmobiles. And the commercial would go about like this: come to the Littleton car dealership on South Broadway. Hurry, 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 hurry. Step right up, step right in, and show up as quickly as you can, because we have these Oldsmobiles, these 3 Oldsmobiles that been a real eye catcher to the people just walking on the sidewalk and riding on a bicycle and driving past, and the many hundreds of different types of automobiles that have been manufactured in the last 20 years. And we have a 1979 dark red Oldsmobile Cutlass that is selling for less than $4,000. And we have a 1980 Oldsmobile Tornado with power seats and power windows that is selling for less than $6,500. And we also have a 1982 gray Oldsmobile Delta 88 that is selling for, please listen carefully, this price is only going to be mentioned once, only once, only once, only once, ta-da! And it is going to be selling for only $2,850. $2,850. Come get it now, come get it now, come get it now, because that is a super hot item, and if you don't come within the next hour, you're likely gonna miss out on it, and you're not gonna get in on the deal. Hurry! But I said this in a real low-pitched little kid's voice, I guess. I'm pretty sure I said something like this. I could be wrong, but I think I did. And if I didn't actually say this on the recording, I was thinking it in my mind. I was daydreaming about it. Now, the information that I just spoke of, this is to the best of my ability, and the Model A might have actually been a Model T Ford. Yeah. And back in 1984, you know, the way the actors that would be the announcer and be the voiceover for the commercials, with the nice background music and the sound effects and whatnot, you could put together a really good, ear-catching and attention-getting radio commercial. Because see, back then, a lot of people listened to AM and FM radio then versus now. Now it's XM, Sirius, and other types of subscriptions, or perhaps they'll just go ahead and listen to stuff through YouTube, which is where, as you all know, I'll be posting this video. And the other thing that was going on at the time was my father, I was helping my father on Saturdays do stuff at his shop. And he was trying the best he could to keep the business afloat. And I'm pretty sure, even though he didn't tell me this at the time, I heard about this, probably about 10 years ago. No longer than that, more like about 14 years ago. He tried to sell the business, but he wasn't having any luck. So on April 14th, It was a Friday. It was either April 14th or 15th. He shut the business down. He had no other choice. And he liquidated a lot of the heavy-duty equipment. And he sold a lot of the parts. And he took his personal toolbox, a Waterloo that had, I think, 12 drawers on top and at least 10 to 12 on the bottom box. It was really heavy duty. It was just as good as the Snap-ons, and it was less expensive than a Snap-on or a Mac toolbox. And he got that out of his shop, and he took it home. And a couple of weeks later, he had a big liquidation sale, and he did not only just sell the desks and a lot of and a truck and a lot of equipment, a lot of parts and junk and stuff. He also sold some things that were stuff that he had around the house, like a thick concrete, and it had these little rock. I think it was made out of something like mortar or thick granite or linoleum or something like that. It was an outdoor patio table. I mean, it was huge. It was at least 2-3 feet wide, 2-3 feet long, and about at least 12 to 18 inches wide. Yeah. And he had some bar stools, and he had some ceiling lamps, and a bunch of puzzles and jigsaw puzzles, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I mean, he had a ton of stuff to get rid of. And then after the liquidation sale, he had two different ones. One Saturday and Sunday, and then another Saturday and Sunday that was a week later. He did what he could to look for a job. And then when the building sold, it was somewhere in after about June 10th or June 16th, roughly. That's the best memory I have. Me and a good friend of his named Brad, all loaded up the Ford pickup truck that he had already sold to a guy that he knew. And we just kept loading up and loading up and loading up everything that would fit in the pickup bed of a bunch of scrap metal, pistons, crankshafts, little pieces of metal and aluminum that were in the backyard. And he would take it to Gahagan, and they would weigh it, and that guy made probably about $200-300. And after we were done, after the second or the third load, he paid to take us out for lunch at a place that quite unfortunately went out of business somewhere between 1989 and 1992, called Joe's Old Shack in Commerce City. They had very, very good cheeseburgers. Very good for the money. And we had a good time. Yeah. And then on Sunday he did whatever he did on Sunday. I don't remember. That was 40 years ago. I was just a 10-year-old little kid who hadn't turned 11 years old. No, I take that back. I was an 11-year-old kid that hadn't turned 12 years old yet. And on the next weekend after that, because Monday through Friday he couldn't do that. He was working at his new job at Stewart and Stevenson. we went there one more time, and I think one of the things he did was he had a towing company pick up a 1965 or 66. It was either a Monza or it was a Corvair 900 or something that was given to my dad by his stepfather, Rich. Rich is my grandfather. And he did a little bit of cleaning, and he got some other things done, and he did a little bit of this, a little bit of that, because the building had sold. And I can't say how much, but I'll tell you this much. Actually, let me do some calculations here really quick. Okay. Well, it was so long ago, I guess I'll go ahead and discuss it. Back in 1980, this was somewhere between February and March. My dad got ownership of the building, and the price on the building was somewhere between $149,000 or $161,000. I think, come to think, but I think it was $149,000. Let me do some more calculations here. Okay. Let me do something again before I speak about this. Okay. The building, when he originally bought it back in 1980, was about $149,000 and change. I don't know the exact figure to the penny, but it was somewhere between $149 and $149.5, roughly. And he wasn't like super wealthy, but he had enough money in not out of his own financial resources, but within the business, enough money to put a decent down payment on the commercial loan. So, from about February or March of 1982, I believe it was April of 1985 when he shut the business down. He was, excuse me a minute. Okay, so he was making about $800 to $900 payments on what I would assume would be a 15-year commercial loan. And that included, and that was not including property tax. So it was at least $827. And based on what I remember my father telling me about this place that he sold, I believe he sold it for about $225,000. So that would be, okay, I did something, and once I put in 41%, $210,000 sounds more likely. So for a 41% profit, he sold it for $210,000, $210.90 or $211. $211,000, that is. And that got my dad to have a chunk of dough. What amount that is, I'm not going to say it, because if my father finds out about this, he's really going to chew me out. He's really going to get mad. Sorry, I had to tell my cat to stop messing with with the hose on my CPAP. I mean, she's a good kitty, but I had to tell her. All right, so, but, and then what happened was, 2 years later, in August of 1987, my mother did a separate maintenance, which is separation of marriage, and they split up with full intent to get divorced, and they did. What money my dad actually had in his savings, again, I'm not going to say it. I mean, can't say a word. It was more than a couple of $1,000s, but even then, I'm really pushing the envelope saying that. Yeah, let me say one other thing before I end the vlog. The other reason why I decided to do this vlog was back in '84. I was really thinking a lot about 1957 Fords, a lot, because now that come to think of it, the car that Marion Crane, played by Janet Leigh, actually owned, and then she took it to that dealership, was the '57 Ford, and the one that she bought was probably a 1954 Ford. At least I'm pretty sure about that. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure about that. And well, I just kept thinking about it over and over again, and that's when I got out the good old tape recorder, and I started to record these commercials, because one, I wanted to do it to entertain myself, and two, I wanted to impress my parents and have them think, oh yeah, you make a good actor. I can't remember exactly the way they thought about it. I think my dad was a little bit impressed, but he just kind of laughed at me. It's like, whatever, kid. That's the way parents are. Good ones and bad ones. It's just the way they are. And I do believe, and I'm referring to the one that was pulled out of the swamp, I do believe that exact car is still in existence and is stored away somewhere. And it was in, I think it was a sequel or a remake to Halloween, the one where Jamie Lee Curtis starred in, and Janet Leigh starred in that. This was before Janet Leigh, quite unfortunately, passed away. Yeah, Janet Leigh's no longer with us. Well, that's enough about commercials, and I'd like to say thank you to everybody. It's time for me to go now, and I'm going to play back this vlog, see how it sounds, and then I'm going to upload it. So thank you, everybody, and goodbye.